To have his own space led him to the decision to rent a place of his own.
Like 40.
Singapore stands as one of the most developed and advanced nations in Asia, known for its remarkably competitive economy, which consistently ranks among the world's best. Within Southeast Asia, Singapore has emerged as a trailblazer across numerous industries, proudly earning its place as the Asian tiger. However, beneath Singapore's pristine, carefully maintained streets lies a hidden, less glamorous side that we're going to explore and uncover today. A snapshot of Singapore. This small yet vibrant island nation sits at the southern tip of Malaysia, nestled near the Riau Islands. Despite being an archipelago with an impressive 64 islands, only the largest island is populated and developed. Spanning a compact area of around 280 square miles, Singapore is home to nearly 6 million people, making it one of the world's most densely populated countries, second only to Monaco. Singapore's population brings together a unique blend of ethnic groups, including Chinese, Malay, Indian, Arab, and individuals of various Asian and Caucasian backgrounds. Both Malay and English are official languages, reflecting its multicultural roots. Interestingly, Singaporeans are known for having some of the highest average IQ scores globally, a testament to the nation's strong focus on education and innovation. Since gaining independence from Malaysia in 1965, Singapore has made significant strides. Its national anthem, Majulah Singapura, Onward Singapore, was actually composed as early as 1958 by Zubir Said, a composer and musician originally from Bukit Tinggi in Sumatra. A highly developed nation. Singapore's long and varied history of migration has given it a richly layered industrial heritage. And today, it's celebrated for extraordinary economic progress and growth, justifying its nickname as the Asian Tiger. One of the country's key revenue streams comes from its tourism sector, which has continued to flourish over the years. In 2018 alone, Singapore welcomed at least 20 million international tourists, drawn by the country's distinct attractions and culture. This significant influx is partly a result of the city-state's meticulous cleanliness standards, earning it recognition as the cleanest country in the world and adding to its appeal as a premier travel destination. The cleanest country. Singapore's reputation for immaculate cleanliness goes all the way back to the early days of its first Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew, who was famously fixated on maintaining a spotless environment. This commitment inspired the launch of the well-known Keep Singapore Clean campaign, which implemented strict penalties for littering and other violations. Building on this, the Use Your Hands campaign encouraged residents to take personal responsibility by cleaning their surroundings themselves. These initiatives established a deep-rooted culture of cleanliness and orderliness that still defines Singapore today. However, the duty of maintaining this cleanliness doesn't solely fall on residents. Today, the city-state relies heavily on professional cleaning services to ensure Singapore remains as spotless as its reputation suggests. The dark side of Singapore. Ironically, this rigorous cleanliness has led to some unexpected consequences in the way residents view personal responsibility. One expatriate living in Singapore shared a surprising insight. Singaporeans, despite the city's famed cleanliness, don't always reflect this standard in their own actions. Many people, they observed, litter casually, assuming that paid cleaning staff will handle it, reinforcing a mindset that cleanliness is managed by others rather than a shared responsibility. This attitude of indifference seems to extend beyond just cleanliness. In another story shared by the same expatriate, an incident of harassment took place on a double-decker bus, yet not a single passenger intervened or acknowledged it, shedding light on a passive and detached approach that sometimes surfaces in Singapore's tightly controlled environment. Slum areas. Despite its polished image, Singapore is not without its own pockets of poverty. A short documentary produced by Publicus SG showcased the challenging living conditions that many migrant workers endure. These areas bear more resemblance to crowded dormitories than actual neighborhoods, often consisting of large, shared rooms stacked with bunk beds. These cramped spaces are cluttered with drying laundry and cheap utilitarian furniture, leaving little room for privacy or movement. The documentary visited 5 such dormitories, each highlighting a reality far removed from Singapore's iconic image of cleanliness and order. Xenophobia. In a city where about 40% of the population is made up of foreigners, particularly migrant workers, xenophobia has become an issue for many non-residents. These migrant workers frequently face hostility from some locals, with some Singaporeans openly displaying resentment, even going as far as shouting, "Go back to your country" at foreign residents. This underlying xenophobic sentiment underscores a social divide, despite Singapore's image as a global city. Discrimination in rentals. Discrimination in Singapore's rental market isn't consistent across the board, however. In a revealing Vice documentary titled "Why Rental Discrimination is Still Common in Singapore," it was found that Indian residents frequently face higher rental costs than other ethnic groups. Siddharth Karthik, a long-time resident, shared his ongoing difficulties in renting homes due to racial filtering by landlords, who often impose extra barriers or inflated prices. This level of discrimination stands in stark contrast to the experiences of many European expatriates, who encounter far fewer restrictions when renting accommodations, highlighting a significant racial disparity within Singapore's housing market. Foreign workers. Foreign labor in Singapore extends well beyond the manufacturing and construction sectors to include commercial sex workers, CSWs, who are required to hold a work permit for legal employment. Interestingly, these permits are only available to women from a select group of 5 countries: China, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. This permit, commonly referred to as the yellow card, is essential for any woman from these regions who wishes to work in this field. The yellow card regulation suggests a high level of government oversight and management of Singapore's brothels. Holders of these permits must adhere to specific requirements, including regular health screenings, and are required to be between the ages of 21 and 35. Additionally, they must pass an interview conducted by local police. During this interview, their work contracts and passports are confiscated by authorities, leaving them with only a copy of their passport. These workers are further restricted by regulations. They must reside within the brothel, are subject to frequent HIV testing, are forbidden from marrying Singaporean citizens, and cannot take on any other employment outside their CSW role. Non-compliance with these strict guidelines incurs a penalty of 500 Singapore dollars. The permit's conditions enforce a 6-day work week until the yellow card expires, at which point they are typically deported and may face permanent re-entry bans depending on police policies. On average, these workers earn approximately 6,000 Singapore dollars under these terms. Numerous fines. For foreign tourists planning to visit Singapore, it's essential to be mindful of the country's strict regulations to avoid hefty fines. One of the foremost rules is to avoid littering at all costs. Violators face fines ranging from 300 to 1,000 Singapore dollars, depending on the severity of the offense. Smoking in designated no-smoking zones is another costly mistake, with fines that can reach up to 1,000 Singapore dollars. The city's dedication to this rule is evident, with around 300 surveillance cameras actively monitoring these no-smoking areas. Even chewing gum carelessly can incur fines within a similar range, as improper disposal of gum is taken very seriously. Fishing in unauthorized spots is another violation that can lead to significant penalties, with fines amounting to approximately 3,000 Singapore dollars. Eating or drinking in prohibited locations, such as on public transport, also results in fines, as part of Singapore's effort to uphold its reputation for cleanliness, order, and discipline. Limited natural resources. Singapore is a nation without any significant natural resources, relying heavily on its maritime proximity for economic activity. As a result, the country has redirected its focus toward industrial development, converting limited land into industrial zones to sustain growth. Additionally, tourism, especially shopping tourism, plays a critical role in driving the economy. However, this industrial emphasis may make Singapore seem less appealing for nature enthusiasts and adventure seekers who prefer natural landscapes. The scarcity of natural resources also impacts Singapore's access to fresh water. To ensure a reliable supply of potable water for its population, the government has taken various measures over the decades. One such initiative is its advanced water recycling system, in place since the 1970s and expanded with a new plant in 2013. This intricate process treats wastewater using advanced techniques like new water membranes and ultraviolet sterilization, turning wastewater into safe, reusable water. Alongside this, Singapore consumes desalinated seawater and hygienically treated rainwater to meet demand. With few local sources of fresh water, Singapore has been importing clean water from Malaysia since 2011 through an agreement that extends until 2061, ensuring access at an affordable cost. The hidden struggles. Beneath Singapore's gleaming exterior lies a more complex and often hidden reality. The country's impressive progress has come with its own set of challenges. It's vital to recognize and appreciate the many workers who rise early and return late, dedicating their energy and effort to build and sustain the city's infrastructure. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the lesser-known aspects of Singapore. Stay tuned as we continue to reveal hidden insights from other regions around the world.